In this video, we will be reviewing for the final for Chem 111 at Purdue North Central, and we are going to be primarily focused on conversions. Alright, so dimensional analysis and conversions are the same thing, they're just different ways of saying it. One thing you do want to make sure of is to memorize all your prefixes. For instance, 1,000 milligrams is equal to 1 gram. 100 centigrams is equal to 1 gram. 1,000 grams is equal to 1 kilogram, so on and so forth. You want to memorize all of the prefixes. Also, you want to take care as to what the prefixes mean. It's the letter in front. Alright, notice that on both sides, the grams. Both sides are grams. It could be centimeters to meters. It could be kilometers to meters. It could be kiloseconds to seconds. It doesn't matter. What matters is the prefix, and you want to memorize all of those and know how to use them when doing conversions. Alright, so let's try some examples. How many centimeters are there in 1.23 times 10 to the negative 6 kilometers? So 1.23 times 10 to the negative 6 is going to be our starting point in kilometers. We're going to centimeters. Notice we're going from one prefix to another prefix, which means we're going to go through the base unit in this process. So 100 centimeters is equal to 1 meter, because meter is the base unit here. And then 1,000 meters is equal to 1 kilometer. Once again, that's the base unit. And we're looking for centimeters, and we're starting with kilometers. So we're going to go from kilometers to meters, from meters to centimeters. So the very first step is to always put the number you're trying to convert over 1. So the 1.23 times 10 to the negative 6 kilometers is what's going to be put over 1. All we've done is change it into a fraction, because conversions and dimensional analysis both are multiplying fractions. We have kilometers on the top. Let's put kilometers on the bottom of the next one. So we look for kilometers in our conversion factors, and the bottom one is our conversion factor we're going to use because that's where the km is. Notice the 1 is next to km, so that's how I know to put the 1 there. That equals 1,000 meters, so that's going to be put on top. We're not into centimeters yet, we're in meters now, so now we need to go to the next conversion factor. A lot of the time, I cross out the conversion factor I've already used as to not confuse myself in the future. So we have meters on top, so I'm going to put meters on bottom. I look up here and I see 1 goes with meters. That's equal to 100 centimeters. So in this particular question, the kilometers cancel and the meters cancel, and we're left over with centimeters, which is what we're looking for. What you're looking for will always be in the top of the last line, so you want to keep that in mind. So it's going to be 1.23 EE or EXP negative 6. Remember, times 10 you never actually put into the calculator, you put EE or EXP. It's probably a second function on your calculator. Times 1,000 times 100. When you multiply that out, 0.123 centimeters. If it's on the top, you're going to multiply. If it's on the bottom, you're going to divide. Let's try another one. How many hours are there in 34.5 years? 34.5 years is going to be our starting number, so that's going to be the number over 1. We're going from years to hours, so we can break this down. We know that there are 365 days in 1 year. I realize that there's also 0.25, but I'm not going to worry about that. And then in each day, there are 24 hours. So now we can go from years to days and from days to hours. So once again, we're going to have two conversion factors here that we're going to use. The very first step is to put the number you're trying to convert over 1. So 34.5 years over 1. Years is on top, so we put years on the bottom. And I look at my conversion factor. I see years on the top one, so I'm going to use this conversion factor. And notice that 1 is right next to years on the right hand side of the equal sign. So that's equal to 365 days. We have days on top, so we're going to put days on the bottom. Here we have days, 1 goes with days, is equal to 24 hours. So that's 34.5 times 365 times 24. The years cancel and the days cancel. That leaves us with hours when we're done. So that calculates out to be 302,220. But let's take a second to look at significant figures now that we got the pattern down. This is a multiplication division problem. All conversion factors are. All dimensional analysis problems are. So that means you're going to be looking at the quantity of significant figures in these problems. So here we have 3 significant figures. So we want the first 3 significant figures here. There's a couple different ways to do that. You can either say 302 and then make all the rest of these zeros, because then those zeros don't count because there's no decimal. Or I can put it in scientific notation to be 3.02 times 10 to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to try 2 more problems for this video. How many inches are there in 45.6 centimeters? And the conversion factor is given to you right there. There's 2.54 centimeters is equal to 1 inch. So 45.6 centimeters is the number we're trying to convert. Over 1. We have centimeters on the top, so I'm going to put centimeters on the bottom of the next one. I look for centimeters in the equation, in the conversion factor. I notice 2.54 next to it, so that's going to be the number that goes with the centimeters. Is equal to 1 inch. So 45.6 divided by 2.54 is equal to 17.9 inches. There's 3 numbers in the question, so there'll be 3 numbers in the answer. Our last example is going to be a more involved one. I'm going to end this video with a harder question. How many miles are there in 3.44 times 10 to the 8th? Remember, times 10, you use EEXP, inches. There are 0.61 miles in 1 kilometer. Alright, so we can get from kilometers to miles, but we need to figure out how to get to inches. So we can get to, if we go to this previous question, we know that there's 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch. Okay, so we have inches here and we have miles here, but we have a big gap in between them. If we start off with inches, inches can get us to centimeters, and then eventually centimeters will get us to kilometers. So 100 centimeters is equal to 1 meter, and 1,000 meters is equal to 1 kilometer. Now that we have all that figured out, we're going to use 4 different conversion factors in this question. So you're going to have 5 lines total, 5 parentheses, or 5 fractions total. The first fraction is always going to be the number you're trying to convert. You just do it step by step. Don't rush yourself through it. 3.44 times 10 to the 8th inches over 1. The first step, we start off with inches, so I put inches in the bottom. So I look at all four of my conversion factors and I look for inches. On the upper right hand corner we have that. So 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. I'm going to cross that out because I don't need it anymore. Now I'm going to look for centimeters in the other three. It's in the lower left hand corner. Centimeters on top, I want to put centimeters on the bottom of the next one. 100 is next to the centimeters, and that's equal to 1 meter. I'm going to come down here to the next line just because I'm running out of room. Alright, so centimeters cancel, and I have meters on top, so I want to put meters on the bottom of the next one. I've used the centimeters now, so I want to cross that off, and I'm looking for some other conversion factor that has meters in it. It's right here. And 1,000 goes with meters, and that is equal to 1 kilometer. And then finally, we're in kilometers, and we can get to miles. Kilometers are on top, so I put kilometers on the bottom of the next one. 1 goes with kilometers, 0.61 miles. Alright, so this is a longer one. 3.44 EE8, or EXP8, times 2.54 divided by 100 divided by 1,000 times 0.61. You multiply that out, and it comes out to be 5329.9 miles. When we look at our initial question, we have 3 significant figures, so I want to round it off to 5, 3. That 9 rounds up the 2 to another 3, 0 miles. So I have 3 significant figures here, and that 0 doesn't count. And that is how you do conversions.